What's up and welcome to Champions of Lore, a show about all the kick-ass stories behind some Idle Champions' coolest campaigns and characters. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on twitch.tv/CNE Games or later on your favorite podcast service, B. Dave Walters and Erin M. talk about all the Idle Champions lore that's fun to know about. And B. Dave does the forbidden dance. If you're hearing this live in the chat, you leave a question that I, Treavor Bettis, will ask them later in the show. But until then, Erin, B. Dave, take it away.
Hi, I'm Erin M. I'm the author of the Brimstone Angels Saga, a 6-book series set in the Forgotten Realms, featuring 3 of your favorite Idle Champions, Frida, Havilar, and Mehen. I'm also a content designer for Idle Champions, and I play Cecilia on Dungeon Scrawlers.
Just saying, audio listeners, the forbidden dance is why you have to tune into the video version of our program here. For the rest of you, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
B. Dave Walters, I say words about things, and apparently will wiggle anywhere there's a camera. So, I can't even say wiggle anytime you start the music. There wasn't any. Just it was time. So there we go.
That's why G4 hired you.
That is literally
in your heart.
It's the groove is literally in the heart. Also, the fact that I could drop it like it was warm was not unrelated as to why G4 hired me, to tell you the truth. Yeah, so
Drop
it's not that.
Yeah. So yeah, hi everybody that is watching and or listening at a later date. This week Dylan was sick over the weekend. He's doing better now. We wish him getting better fast. But that meant that the kids got to run the classroom. We got to kind of pick our own topic. And you know what? The Hand of Vechna is in the game in a skin and a feat.
So it counts.
The Hand of Vecna is also in my room.
Yeah.
It's just over there.
I'm gonna lower my mic so you can say, yeah, I still got right there.
There it is.
It's even got the guitar pick still from Dinner for Dragons. Still there, still killing. Oh, and my cat is making a special appearance in my room. Hopefully you don't do anything bad. Anywho,
Nice. Ratings.
yeah, so Vecna, one of the most feared villains in the multiverse.
Ba-ba-bum.
Where do you want to start with this lovely Lich boy?
I feel like the Hand and I might be a good place to start, because that's where Vecna starts. Because originally there is no Vecna. There's the artifacts that remain.
Or that's where Vecna ends.
That's true. That's true. Publication order or in-world chronology.
Let's
Endless lore question.
let's begin at the beginning.
But by the way, the artifacts that remain is my new fantasy metal band.
That's a good name. I am very into it.
No Stabagill the Kobold. You can't see my cat because she will attack me right now. So what you're saying there is that originally, as far as meta wise, the artifacts came first. The Hand and Eye of Vecna were artifacts that showed up and then got built on.
Yeah. In first edition, Vecna is dead, destroyed long ago, and all that's dead, and then dead again, and then extra dead, and then a little more just for good measure.
Sprinkle some more dead on there.
Spoiler alert, that doesn't last. So they were, their artifacts, the Hand and Eye of Vecna, were created by a game designer named Brian Bloom and added into the game. They're kind of reminiscent of some artifacts from Michael Moorcock's series, The Hand of Quill and the Eye of Rin. So these are pretty serious business. It is literally Vecna's eye and hand, and you have to attach them to your own body in place of your otherwise working attributes for them to work.
Apparently that's just business, though. From what I've been told, what I might have heard.
Just how it goes.
Well, okay. So what do we have it easily accessible what they did in first edition? Because I know magic items are kind of wild in the first 2 editions, where it was like either we're going to give you a lot of math or it's a lot of role play stuff.
What the eye and the hand actually did?
Yeah, in first edition. I forgot to look that up.
It actually wasn't really in it. It's mentioned in the Dungeon Master's Guide, and it's like as a cautionary tale, like don't use the eye and hand of Vecna.
I'm just
and
picturing
players everywhere is like,
so do use the eye and hand of Vecna.
so what you're saying
Also, you guys got to remember too, from back in my day, from some of us who were there.
There's old man Walters.
when-
Haven't seen him
when
for a bit.
when the first edition rules were written, it was far more conceptual. The game was there. Not everything had to have a stat block because we had imagination.
There were rule books for as far as the eye could see.
Your dungeon master was just meant to torment you, and however they saw fit. That's how that was.
Yeah. The supplement it comes from is called Eldritch Wizardry, and I just looked up the cover, and it is something.
Oh, now I gotta see this.
There's a naked lady on an altar.
Oh, of course it is.
Fire.
I mean, this sounds pretty metal. What's the name of it?
Oh my
It's not.
God.
It's
No,
like imagine that, but it's painted in 1918
It's called
Our
Eldritch
class.
Wizardry.
Eldritch Wizardry.
That is a naked lady.
I'm like, first
Sort
of all,
of.
don't kink shame me. You don't know what I'm doing.
I just wouldn't call it metal. It's
not very metal.
Okay, wait a second. You know
art,
what?
art is
Hold
a
on.
process, but
No, really.
also
No, really.
that doesn't
I-
look like a human body.
I do expect that to look like the album cover of a vinyl that is propped in the window of a used bookstore and has been there since the shop opened.
Yes. It
Alright,
also
fair,
seems
fair.
like a piece of art that would show up in like the background of a Silent Hill level that I would spend way too much time thinking was part of the puzzle.
Right. And
It's
then-
like
and
how
then-
many things does a flame have?
I mean, well, there's the other one that is the book 6 of Eldritch Wizardry, where apparently that same woman is actively being sacrificed.
Oh jeez.
It's a process. I see.
Yeah, right. No, right. Like we're getting there. Like there's way more tentacles later on.
Yep, I see
yeah.
that one. Yep.
Yeah.
That
So
This game,
just to,
man.
I might understand where the satanic panic came from. Haven't been there at the time where we were like, no, it's not. No, it's no. Yeah. We're just sacrificing this innocent life to attain evil undead timeless power.
Okay, so Hand and Eye of Vecna were the first things to show up in the game.
Okay, wait. I'm about to do something highly non-constructive here. I'm gonna send
On
you
this
guys
show,
here.
B-Dave?
Yeah, no.
On
look at
this show?
No, look at this.
Dylan's
picture.
not so sick anymore. He can catch you.
It's true. I run really fast. Besides, I distracted him with talking about the book of Boba Fett. Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
I distracted him.
Yeah.
Hang on, I gotta open. Oh my god!
Right.
Who is this man?
Dear friends, I sent the cover of the Dungeon Master's Index First Edition by Dave Arneson.
Man.
And
That
that's
is-
what DMs look like. That was the game. I mean, I know that unintentionally, this is the most
It
accurate
is
portrayal of
very
I
first
could
edition.
actually
symbolic.
show
Yeah.
this on the stream. So I
Okay,
will
yeah.
do.
Yeah,
Here-
it's not.
here
It's not
is-
like a problem. It's
Yeah.
just. I
Right.
mean, it's a different kind of problem if
Yeah.
this is not what
I
your
just
jam
don't-
is, which is not mine.
I just
Yeah, they-
don't know.
Didn't realize just how much of the truth they were telling in this image. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm just
This-
gonna
this
remove that.
Yeah. That's
we
a
go.
self-portrait.
Okay, so Vecna shows up as the Hand and Eye first. When did we get anything that was not even like a stat block, but it's like Vecna's back, and this time it's personal?
In the adventure, Vecna lives! Exclamation point.
You know, I shouldn't even be a little bit surprised.
It's like you thought I was dead, but actually I'm a demigod.
The player's like, I wonder what happens in this one.
Yeah.
That's a real
I bet that
tough
was
nut to crack.
exciting.
Yeah.
Right? You hear this, you get these little hints of this super powerful lich,
Mhm.
and then you see the new adventure is Vecna lives. I bet that was exciting at the time. Like, ooh,
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not
I-
discounting that, but yeah,
Right.
it's just
I should say the Vecna originally came from Greyhawk,
that is a good point.
which is also where Aslan comes from originally. So
Oh.
Greyhawk's #1 export is terrible Lich Wizard. That's just
Isn't the
that's-
Sirarak from there too?
I think he might.
I think it's there. He might
Yeah,
be too. Let's,
yeah.
Let's,
Oh yeah,
that's-
because the Tomb of Horrors was first in Greyhawk, I believe.
That's true.
Yeah. So legit, your #1 export is evil Lich Wizards. Which, what does it say about Greyhawk that they amass all this power and the first thing they all want to do is leave Greyhawk? You know?
Like,
They're like
Yeah.
all the
I'm done
angsty
with this.
teenagers from like 60s films are like, I gotta get out of this town. I gotta get out of this plane.
Yeah. Yeah.
This plane's taking me nowhere. Yeah, they're
You know?
just going, the
Yeah,
Lich
right.
is going down the street, snapping away.
oh.
This
geez.
is what they pay us for, people.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Catch 23 put in the chat. Don't forget Tasha. Yep, it's true. But bunch of evil wizardry people.
You know, again, I remember playing in Greyhawk. It didn't seem like this terrible apocalyptic hellscape. That was Dark Sun, like
Yeah.
Greyhawk seemed fine.
Maybe Greyhawk's less apocalyptic because they all go, let's go to Forgotten Realms and mess up stuff.
Right.
That's the catastrophe world. Let's do that. That's the ongoing catastrophe. Dark Sun is catastrophe already happened.
I will say, Faerun is the New York / LA of going to pull off, interplanar hijinks. Like if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Like
the streets are
everybody's
paved gold
showing
with
up to
evil
shoot
plans.
their shot.
Yeah, exactly. If I can go compete with like the creme de la creme of evil, then I really got something. Yeah. Versus, speaking as someone who's from a lovely place that success would have been irrelevant in, I comprehend this where you're like, I must go now. I've amassed enough power to depart here. Yes.
Someone asked the chat Greyhawk episode to win. This is probably about as much as you're gonna get of it. It's not currently in the game, so it's about just us making Greyhawk jokes. That's about as far as it goes.
Bold of you to assume we just extended to do more episodes of this show.
Dylan can't be healthy forever.
Oh my
God!
God.
Be a real shame if
That
something
sounds
were to
like a
happen to
threat.
him.
I don't mean it like a threat.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
We
gonna
love you,
send him
Dylan.
His favorite food. No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna send him some stuff that he should consume on Tuesday night. Yeah, right.
I just meant Dylan has a toddler and
It's true.
they're
Just
germ factories.
that is ooh.
Speaking of germ factories, liches.
Well, but I would
They're
just say,
kind of the opposite, dude.
They gotta be pretty. They gotta be pretty nasty.
nasty.
They're carrying some nasty stuff with them.
they're kind of desiccated though. I mean, look at that hand. It's like jerky. I don't know.
Yeah.
What
You
is
know?
there to what's there to nosh
Well,
on if you're a bacteria? It's
but
too dry.
I
That's
will
why you
say-
make beef jerky so that it doesn't rot. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, are we making lich jerky though? Is it like
They
the eye
are
and
jerky.
hand-
They're
it's
basically magic jerky. That's
it's
a lich.
So it's the eye, hand, and jerky of Vecna. That's the third
Oh.
relic.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you want to get into some random Vecna relics? Because people definitely went ahead and made some random Vecna.
Oh, let's hear that.
relics.
I
Yeah,
just,
I'm
I
down.
just, I just
But
need
you
to say
can-
one thing before we divulge into the Vecna relics, and God help me if the Vecna jerky comes from where I think it does. I would just like to shout out the second edition art of Vecna. He sort of just kind of looked like a dude with a skin condition, like maybe he was going through some stuff. Maybe he was just having a really bad.
Oh
allergic
yeah, no,
reaction
that's a
to
nasty
everything.
man.
Oh.
That man's
Yeah.
covered in disease and germs.
That
Okay,
guy's
fair.
spreading something. Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy, right. But then by third edition, he's just like an angry skelly boy. I actually really like that art.
That art is actually
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That is
he's
scary.
yeah. That he's like, where's my hand? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give it back.
Yeah, right, where my hand
Bro,
back?
where my
And
hand
then,
at?
And then by fifth edition, he went back to being kind of a little meaty again.
Nan bread loaf Greyhawk. Greyhawk
It's true.
exports Lich jerky. Order yours today.
Do not order
Don't
it.
do it. Don't do it.
Do
Okay.
not be deceived.
Bad
The
idea, bad
other
idea.
Vecna artifacts. Let's jump
Okay.
on that one.
So there is an adventure. It is I think it's the last second edition adventure. Yeah, the last adventure to be written for the second edition rule set is Die Vecna Die. And there's a lot of minor artifacts in that, which include the first digit, the right thumb of Vecna, the second digit, the third digit, the last digit, his incisors, which is in there, although they're described as the canines apparently. Molar, scalp, skin, heart, foot, left foot.
Homebrew's
specifically.
weird.
Right
What
eye.
the heck?
The artifacts in third edition are known as the Fragments of Vechna.
Ooh.
Um,
Some assembly required.
Yeah, like at some point, is there Vecna left? There's also the head of Vecna, which is apparently a hoax. There's no actual head of Vecna.
I appreciate there's like the pinky
Spoiler
toe of
alert.
Vecna, but everybody's like not the head though. Come on.
Not that one.
Overlord,
I realize.
Overlord in the chat is requesting that there be a spleen of Vecna.
I mean, if you can get it off him, I bet it's got some kind of ability.
The left nostril of Vecna.
That's true. Also,
There's
just
also. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
There's also the left ear of Vecna from Dragon Magazine issue. And then there's also in the Open Grave Sorts book, there's a lich that has the heart of Vecna. So again, like I'm not sure if all of this is canonical, what exactly is left of Vecna.
Yes,
although I guess he might be able to rebuild parts at some point.
I like the idea this guy's like, I have this evil artifact in my possession for centuries. It is the toenail clipping of the left big toe.
It's almost like an evil version of like relics, right? Like this is the saint's toe. This is the saint's. Yeah, but it's all just one guy. Just one guy.
This is my lucky Vecna toe.
I would submit that even the saints' relics were evil saints' relics the entire time. Because if somebody was just like, here's this holy person's toe, I'd be like, bury it. But so I realize we went all over the place, even for us with Vecna's story here.
Just like Vecna and the multiverse.
Just like Vecna and the multiverse. So the thing is, this is one of those characters that is so old that originally kind of didn't have a story. And then just bits and pieces of a story just sort of came up around him of like, what's terrible stuff. He's from Greyhawk. He wrote the Book of Vile Darkness, the most evil of evil books. That's just got a great title, by the way. Like
also,
the Book of Vile Darkness.
I also love his first book is Ordinary Necromancy. Did not hit the market the same way as the Book of Vile Darkness, which just tells us something about the importance of titling for your audience.
Trevor, this again, we got the exasperated intern Vecna just trying to tell a story, rushing across the street with an armful of scrolls, steps in a puddle. The one exasperated strand of hair.
Because that's all that's on his head.
My heart and soul into ordinary necromancy. No one cared.
I like the idea that the love interest for this rom-com is just a normal woman, like a normal human woman, and he's just like, I'm just in love with her, but it's just like, but she's alive, like, you know. She's not dead like you. She's like, that's why I wrote this book, Ordinary Necromancer. I'm just an ordinary necromancer.
Just trying to shoot my shot. Yeah. So so for the most part, his story starts after he already had become a god, after he'd already achieved super lichdom in Greyhawk, which apparently if you want to become an archlich, Greyhawk is the place to do it, even if you gotta leave again.
Highest per capita.
I mean, it's like that that island in Okinawa where like the people live like 120 years and nobody knows why. Like that's how it is in Greyhawk. It's just optimal undead wizard criteria. It's just in the air and in the soil. So Vecna became a god. Doesn't necessarily have any particular domain, and then had to fight for a section of the quasi-elemental plane of ash, which is near the negative energy plane, which just sounds like a little slice of heaven, by the way. And then that apparently got sucked into Ravenloft. So for a time, at least, Vecna was a Dark Lord. Which that's gotta suck, by the way, that you're like, I finally got my own little chunk of apocalyptic hellscape here, and the dark powers are just like,
you made this. I made this.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's why he's got so much beef with the Raven Queen, because Ravenloft is in the Shadowfell, which theoretically means the Raven Queen is over Ravenloft, although they've never described what connection between the Dark Powers and the Raven Queen there is, if any, but there must be. So maybe that's why Vecna's like, no. F you in particular. I'm pointing at you with my good hand. The other thing I didn't mention is when Vecna was killed, his wizard tower was blown up by Kaz, his vampire right hand, no pun intended, or pun intended, I suppose. And the eye and hand were the only thing that were left. So that was a thorough explosion, by the way. When you're just like, boom. Could you imagine, first of all, doing that to a dude, rooting through the remains, finding his eye and hand, and then keeping them? Just being like, why you hit yourself? Why you hit yourself? You're mine now, Vecna.
I actually reading through the lore and stuff, I really did like the part about Kaz, because I thought that was really neat that it was he powered up Kaz's sword so that Kaz could fight someone. And then Kaz won, and then Kaz was like, oh, but now we're gonna fight. And then they had it out, the destruction thing. And it was then later when he got trapped in that part of the Dread Domain that he was just there so long, he's like, I guess I'm a vampire now. And that's my favorite part of it. There's no like he was bitten by Strahd or anything. No, he just spent enough time there that he was a vampire.
Well, that's the wild thing about vampirism in D&D. How you get there is not a clear path. You know, you're just like, oh, a vampire bites you, and you're like, actually, no, it just sort of, you know, it's like organic lichdom. You know, it's fine artisanal lichdom.
So I can't find where this is from, but on Wikipedia there is a character biography for Vecna that gives him le tragic past.
Oh,
yeah, he was.
This is what he wrote in Ordinary Necromancer to impress that girl.
Yeah, this I just want to read this like verbatim because it is exactly what you would expect. Vecna was born as a human centuries ago as a member of the untouchable caste in the Flan city of Fleeth on Earth. He was initially trained by his mother, Mazel, in the art of magic before she was executed by the government of Fleeth for practicing witchcraft. Vowing revenge, Vecna eventually assumed a mastery of the dark arts achieved by no mortal before or since. Some say his achievement was due to direct tutelage by Moxlick, the serpent, believed to be the personification of arcane magic itself.
Oh,
so he's that wizard for Greyhawk.
Yeah,
he's like
I appreciate that. Like,
Raceland.
I appreciate they were like, he's the greatest wizard ever, and both Aslan and Acererak are like,
we should have like a wizard. They should have like a greatest wizard ever cage match.
Oh yeah, but do it like like American Idol,
like a brackets. Do brackets.
American
Idol.
I feel like they would just be so catty. Like none of them would want to cast the spell on the off chance it got counterspelled or didn't work, so they wouldn't try. But they'd just be really mean to each other. Yeah,
you know, that is a very good point. If you sent out invites for this, come prove you're the greatest wizard ever, none of them would show up.
They wouldn't show. Yeah.
No, they would because there is that chance that they would mistime the counterspells.
Yeah. You know, and then you're like, how are you gonna face yourself? You know, with your one good eye, having like lost publicly.
One of the ones that I read was because I saw the human wizard one. Apparently there is another version where he is a half elf, which I thought was interesting. And
he retconned his own past. Be more sympathetic.
That's how powerful he is, folks. He retcons his own story.
I mean, when you're somebody who could like crumble someone with a spell from the hand you still don't have anymore, you can say whatever the hell you want.
That's true. That's true. But in this one, Vecna, it says Vecna was taught by Orcus how to achieve undeath, later becoming one of the most powerful liches ever in existence.
Why'd they fall out? Because they hate each other now, don't they?
Yeah. No, it was because it's because he found out about Orcus's crush on the Raven Queen.
That's exactly, yeah.
He's like, she's the worst. What is this?
The worst.
Orcus beefs with everybody eventually, you know. I feel
think
so
that's
bad
a good rule
here.
of thumb.
Yeah, right. I feel bad too because we make it seem like Orcus isn't like important. I mean, Orcus is scary. We're just sort of like, he's like a doofus. But I mean, like, no, but he's like a powerful doofus.
He's got big cults and stuff. People like him.
Big cults that I cannot deny. The other Liches can't deny. Right.
That's the dance number that ends the first rom-com.
That's true. Right.
Yeah.
And then the Raven Queen's like, oh my God. Look at our guys. His, his skull is so big. It's just like out there. Gross.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, so that
Also, I would just say one other thing.
Yeah.
Vecna's only given relationships to the people he's beefing with. He's like, he doesn't like the Raven Queen. He doesn't like Cass, you know? And
his mom is dead.
well, I mean, he's like 9,000 years old or whatever. There's probably not a lot of anything
that's
left.
true.
Yeah. Unless it's like plot twist, mom Lich. Duh.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Wait, are there any
Sorry, I would
major
love that.
female Liches? I guess Tasha's the closest.
Valindra?
Although,
No, Valindra. That's true.
yeah.
I have one
love
in
Valindra.
Brimstone Angels, but she is absolutely a crap lich. Like, she kind of fell into it, and she's. I love Frenicky. She's incredibly lazy.
I want to ask this because, like, I mean, we might be able to do a Lich episode down the road, but I feel like this is a pretty good time to ask it. How is there like a standard way in D&D of someone becoming a Lich?
Yeah, but it changes, I think.
Yeah, it's a multi-stage process. Yeah, that it's like technically it's not, the ritual isn't like, it doesn't take like a day. Like you really do go through this like Smeagol and the Gollum-esque transformation.
Oof.
Where you kind of just fall apart and as you continue to like rot and get more and more decrepit, your power increases. That's why I don't like Baelnorn. Baelnorn are the good elven liches that are like,
I'm sorry?
Oh yeah, man.
Oh no, yeah, you don't know about Baelnorn?
Baelnorn are the freaking gray Jedi of this game. And I said what I said. It is a heresy and I reject it. Where you were like, what if I took this terrible thing, but I took all the good parts, but I still was kind of cool afterwards? I'm like, no, you don't get that. You don't get that. No, pick a side. Pick a side. Yeah. So
that was
the Lich steps listed at least here, right? Because again, this is a 5th edition. Oh, this, I don't know if they've actually officially laid it out.
We have a Lich recipe.
Yeah. 1, gain access to the spell Imprisonment. 2, learn the secrets of Lichdom, which feels a little bit like a catch-all. Craft a phylactery to protect your soul. Craft the potion of transformation. Perform the ascension ritual. / die. Hope for the best. And then feed the phylactery.
That raises a good question. Is there, because it's usually
learning
left
the
up.
secrets of Lichdom has sub-steps that you can take in choices. You can make a pact. You can receive a dark gift. You can find the Book of Vile Darkness.
So,
yeah.
One of the questions I had about phylacteries is they kind of leave it up to like, like, oh, the Lich has a phylactery, it's somewhere else, and they reform next to it. But do we, for like characters like Vecna and stuff in the past, have we gotten like, this is where their phylactery is, or is it just always left up to the DM?
I don't know. I assume it's left to the DM because
the whole let's just take a step back on the off chance that people don't know these nerd words. A phylactery is the Lich's actual essence lives in it. You might be familiar with this concept as a Horcrux because basically it was completely stolen from this idea of a Lich's phylactery. Adapted. So the Lich, you can't kill it. It will keep coming back until you find this part of itself. A lot of times it's literally its heart or some other part of it that they keep somewhere else expressly so you can't find it and destroy it. Like if this is my evil wizard tower, I got my phylactery in my evil bank vault somewhere else. So that if I get got, I will keep returning as long as my phylactery exists.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was always one of my favorite things reading about a Cyrac, because it was essentially like, oh yeah, no, if a party kills him, he's just gonna go back to his phylactery in another plane. I believe that in that adventure, which I won't spoil which one it is, but like in that adventure, it actually did say what plane the phylactery was on, but it was just straight up like, oh yeah, he'll just go back there and reform, and then wait until all of those characters are dead. And then go back. And I love that of just being so categorized, like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with you. I'm going to outlive you. I'm just going to sit here. You're going to die. It'll be great.
I mean, that's the way vampires handle their problems, where they're just like, I hate you. In 70 years, I'm going to continue on with my plan. Yeah. So,
Yep.
Then they're like, joke's on you. We're elves.
Okay. So we've got Legends of Vecna's backstory, way too many artifacts to count. Really went all in on that. I actually did not know that, and I kind of really love that they did that. One of the things that I did see in here though was because B-Dave, you're talking about the demigod godhood. How did Vecna get that? Because that's not like a normal thing that comes with being a lich, right?
I mean, how do any of them get it? You know what I mean? You're just like, there's like I'm immortal
You
and
get
I made it. Yeah, yeah.
Get enough
Mhm.
people to worship you, and stuff starts happening.
Enough people to bow down and sing your praises. You just kind of cross over to the next one. Like right now, you can have Vecna as a patron, as an undying warlock. Vecna can be your patron now.
Just super cool.
Yeah. Yep. And he's become knowledgeable of the secrets of life and death over many lifetimes. And I really do, I'm telling you, I really want like the Raven Loft / Greyhawk, all necromancer, Sex in the City, Sarah Rack, Vecna, and Aslan.
So wait, we got
Tasha.
that. We had that Wives of Waterdeep suggestion from Ryan Hayden. Now we do Liches of Ravenloft.
Liches of Ravenloft. Yep. That's what I'm here for. Yep. I do want to say one tiny thing. Also, the holy symbol of Vecna is gross. The hand holding the eyeball. Have you seen that one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like
the one that I got, the hand has skin on it.
Yeah.
Like normal skin.
Yeah. Me too. So
it was early in his lich career before the skin got all jerkied and fell off.
That's why the other hand. That's what the hand looked like when it was showroom new. What I was going to say was I did want to say something else about the Book of Vile Darkness, because he did write it, and it's not something that would like taking a whole entire episode for. So there's a total of 6 copies and at least 18 fake or botch copies. Could you imagine? You got to go to the freaking pawn shop and they're like, fake. Best I could do is 50 platinum.
Best I could do.
Yeah, it is made from the flesh of a human face and the bones of a demon. And then with metal bindings, so it's literally metal bindings. And if you aren't worthy of it, when you open it, it just looks like unintelligible symbols. It can be edited by the owner. It basically just contains everything bad. It really is the Book of Vile Darkness. Just everything terrible is in the book. And then it gives you a lot of powers if you especially if it gives you a lot of evil powers, as one would think. Although the book is intelligent, it can deliberately try and hide more dangerous content to make it appear less dangerous or malicious, basically to fake people out. I think personally, if I were the book, I'd give you the worst things first. You know what I mean? Like, no, cast this spell right here. No, this pact. Do this one. Do this one.
Totally. It's 100% fine. That's why it's at the beginning of the book. It's an easy one.
Yep. And there's a there's a chapter, there's a quote from Loft. Where's the chapter about me, demon lord who achieved godhood? Hello. When the 9 hells wrote this thing. I don't know where that's from. Yeah.
I did like in the wiki article that I had up. It said Vecna was the original author of the Book of Vile Darkness, which later received additions from other evil scholars. I just love that. Other evil scholars.
Can you imagine being Vecna and you're like, oh yeah, I remember when I wrote this, and you open it up and like someone's added all these chapters, all this like evil darkness fanfic at the back, and you're like, who dares?
Yeah.
Evil darkness fanfic.
Honestly, I'm offended for Vecna. Right when you just said it like that, I'm like, you're right. No, again, ordinary necromancy was lean. It was effective.
Oh,
not all this extended universe. Just give me the ordinary necromancy that I grew up with. Okay. Yeah.
Vecna, I would like you to release the original theatric version of the Book of Vile Darkness,
of Vile
unedited, in 4K, please.
Dude, no new effects. Just touch it up a little bit. Just touch it up a little bit. Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it. The Vecna cut.
It's true.
Vecna cut.
You know, and don't take your one Book of Vile Darkness and stretch it across 3 movies. Don't do it. A tight 3 hours. A tight 3 hours. You know, it's an unmitigated cash grab from the Lich artistic community. You know what would happen? They'd publish the Book of Vile Darkness. It'd be a hit. Then they would publish Ordinary Necromancy extended over 3 movies. Yeah.
Release the Vecna cut.
Release the Vecna cut. Well, okay, wait, but there really was a priestess of Neril that came in and extended it. So it's like she's like, oh, this isn't done. Let me go add a bunch to it. And it's like, you made it worse. All of this has happened before and will happen again, folks. Yep.
So is there any notable, like, recent in quotes appearances of Vecna besides where we know some things currently? I will get to that.
Where did Vecna pop up last?
Well, so
it's the Baldur's Gate.
Oh, I forgot. There's the robe of Vecna too. That's a whole other thing. Like, again, that's when you know you were incredible. That just having touched you,
yeah,
imbues it with evil power for all time.
but like it does slowly degrade in power, where it's like, this is the hand of a guy who once touched Vecna's shoulder at a con.
Right. Yeah. Like,
it's like, what does it do? It's like it can cast prestidigitation like once a month.
Exactly. You're like, here's my jacket that I hug Vecna in. You know?
Yeah. Well, the most recent thing I know that is Vecna connected is the Hand of Vecna showing up in Descent into Avernus, and it was on Archon's hand. It was Archon's hand. Confusing. There's a video up for people watching and listening. There's a video up on the Idle Champions YouTube channel, which is an interview with Joe Manganiello about how Archon got the Hand of Vecna, and it was actually pretty freaking cool. If I remember correctly,
we all saw it happen. How he got the hand.
Yeah, because it happened on Critical Role, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, so now Archon has at least the hand, and is mucking about in Avernus trying to do things to help out Tiamat.
Yeah, that was the last place Vecna turned up in a major way was on CR when they fought him. He was the main bad guy of Campaign 1, and they fought him at the conclusion. Yep. Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know a lot about Campaign 1, so okay, that's good to know.
Yep. And then there's still some stuff about Vecna in the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, which is the book that came out. Well, I was about to say last year, but that was 2020 because that's 2 years ago.
Oh God.
Time.
I know.
Time.
I reject it. Yeah. So I think most people that know the name of Vecna currently know him because he was a CR adversary.
It's fair. Yeah, I mean, and he's a good villain to have. Like, a Cyrac, I love a Cyrac, but I mostly love a Cyrac for the attitude of like, I don't really care. Like, I'm just here. I'm just gonna do my own thing. Like, even with Ascending to Godhood, like a Cyrac don't care. He's like, I don't really want to do it. I'm kind of chill where I am. Mm-hmm. I might make another god because that seems fun. Whereas Vecna is just like, no, I want all the power. One of the things that I need to find out more about is that apparently, let me see, where was here it is. Vecna got the demigodhood by absorbing the essence of a demigod named Luz.
That's the Greyhawk god.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then when he had this demigodhood, assaulted Sigil, which, like, that's some high-end game planning right there. It's like, I'm going to go attack this donut-shaped plane that exists above the multiverse, ruled by a woman who will kill you if you look at her.
About to say whose shadow will mess you up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He just doesn't like powerful women.
That's
Going
it.
after the
You
Lady
know?
of Pain, going after the Raven Queen.
You know what? You're right.
Or what if Vecna's the biggest simp there is?
that
That is exactly why he just flings it at them, and they're like, what?
So
Yeah.
we say that his actual crush is the Lady of Pain.
I mean, I'm not here to kink shame Vecna. I'm just saying.
But yeah, so apparently in this he was expelled from Sigil with the help of the Lady of Pain, and his essence was separated from Luz.
With the help?
Right? I'm just like I'm pretty sure she did it on her own. Like
what is this?
So that's why now he is considered a lesser deity, I believe is what the wording is. He's no longer a demigod, the lesser deity. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Oh, this was I wonder if this was a book.
Oh, I want that book. That sounds awesome. I need multiverse lich fights.
Mm-hmm.
And I no surprise here, I got a love for the multiverse. And so when you got a villain that threatens the entirety of the multiverse, that's my jam right there.
I mean, hard to argue.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're getting towards the end of this episode. Is there any other things that pop into your all's head about Vecna or Liches or the Book of Owl Darkness?
Liches get stitches, man.
Well, unless you're the hand of Vecna that's acting like Thing from the Addams Family for a specific one shot, then Liches get scritches.
I mean, again, has anybody tried? I bring that up again. Has anybody tried? Maybe that's all they needed. Maybe they just needed to be moisturized. They do look a little dusty. That skin's got to be itchy. And you're just like,
dusty.
Yeah, it was like, there it is, little scratch under the jaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, then why don't we take a look at what the what chat has been up to while we've been talking. Remember, you can drop in questions into the chat that our awesome mod Martin will grab and put into the text doc, or just put more riffing of stuff that we're saying, because that's fine too. I enjoy reading that. Let's see. Cassius335 says, question: trying to figure out a submission for Tome of Beasts 3, which I believe somewhere in here on the panel has experience with. But I have one major problem. How do you configure challenge rating or at all? Like, how do you do that?
CR is the worst guideline. I mean, they're trying. Theoretically, the total levels of the party should equal the CR of the challenge. So if you have a CR 12 monster, the people in the party should equal 12, or at least like 10. Otherwise, they're probably going to be way outmatched. If you have creatures that are CR 1/4, CR 1/8, CR 1/2, which you have, you're supposed to send enough of them against the party that it totals their character levels.
Do you mean their total character levels? So like if I had 3 level 4s, it would be CR 12.
Correct.
Oh, I misunderstood CR. Okay.
Well, but that won't work, because you have 3 level 4 characters and you send a CR 12 monster against them, it will wreck their faces.
Yeah, that's true.
So
see, what I thought it was that creature is meant to be a good encounter for 4 player characters of that level. So if you had a CR 12, 4 level 12s could have a comfortable fight against it.
But remember, the CR scale goes up to 30, bros.
Oh God, you're right. What the fuck?
Yeah. So
I didn't mean to swear there. Sorry. That's how confused I am about this.
Yeah. It doesn't quite work. So
yeah.
I mean, it really, the way I gauge it is roughly analogous to the CR of the creature is equal to the CR of one of the people in the group, the average of the group. You know what I mean? Not the total, the average, right? And then I'll look at the creature and I'll say, one, is this something that they even can beat? Like, read it. Can they defeat this thing? And if they get hit by it, will it one-shot them? You know? And look at it that way. I use it more as the average. And I have to issue the disclaimer. I got 5.5 editions of this game floating around in my head. Like by now, it may be overtly stated that it's the average. But same thing, the CR scale goes to 30, and there is no average character level of 30. So one way or another.
I think it's getting some adjustment with this new Mordekainen book, as far as calculation goes. But yeah, I will be honest, I don't pay attention to CR that much.
No one does. It doesn't quite work.
Yeah, like I also don't really like. I've said this on difficulty class. My encounter building goes, that sounds cool.
No,
and hopefully it doesn't murder them. So I guess the best answer we got here, Cassie says, make it up. Do your best. I believe in you.
Yep.
Also, Tome of Beast 3 looks freaking awesome.
I will say, that's the Cobalt one, right?
Yeah, Cobalt Press. Yeah.
I'm contributing to that one. I just want to make sure that I was saying that I'm working on the right book.
That's why I said one person on the panel has experience.
I didn't want to be like, "Yay, I'm helping with that," and they're like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not." You know? I will also say too, look at other monsters and see that your thing is of a similar weight class. You know, like if you've got a creature that you're like, I don't know, it's a giant spike bullfrog. And it can grapple and swallow, and it's gonna do 2d6 acid damage every round while you're being digested. Look at the monsters and see what's someone that is a creature that is around that difficulty, around that AC, around that hit points, or hits around that hard, and then that's your CR. In worst case, quite frankly, adjust to that.
Yeah.
But what you'll find is monsters it is challenge rating, by the way. I don't know that we said that out loud because everybody's gonna be like, why are they being so mean to Critical Role? That is what you sound like when you do that, by the way. Usually the challenge rating is defined by how hard it is to kill, how easy it can kill you, or both.
Yeah.
Like you can have a fairly weak monster that is just incredibly durable, like zombies, that is very easy to kill a zombie. It's just hard to keep it dead because it can get back up again.
Yep.
Versus something like the Tarrasque, you know? So there you go. All right. Now
Foolish Genius 89 says, question: if someone goes multiverse hopping and gets multiple eyes of Vecna and makes a beholder out of them, how fast do the players revolt?
I mean, you could have a beholder of Vecna.
Beholder of Vecna. Well, see, like, so now I'm sitting here just like, okay, so would there be multiple Vecnas?
So it seems to me, and you tell me your take on this, Aaron, that D&D has made the planes and the multiverses, and let me not say anything that's under NDA, but historically it's like there's only one tier, there's only one Umberly. Like you can go to these other places, but it's still tier, it's still Umberly. They're not Umberlies, you know? Umberli? What is the plural?
I think Umberli works.
Yeah, chopping Umberli.
Sorry, yeah. I had my headphones stopped working for a second.
Oh, that's not fun.
I figured I don't know why it happened, but it made it stop happening, so that's fine.
Yeah, it's basically saying, like, would there be multiple Vecnas? Would there be multiple hands and eyes of Vecna?
And I was saying there would, personally.
The only way is if you really wanted that, and then you built in some kind of evil chronomancer that split the timeline, and then you had multiple Vecnas. So maybe, but I don't think I don't think there is as a like set thing. So
yeah. I know that with the way that I do multiverse stuff, it could be possible, and now I'm just like, I could do a Beholder Vecna.
I mean, Beholder Vecna.
I could do Beholder Vecna.
Especially if you have a
I'll just combine Vecna with the terrible CGI ending of the Dungeons and Dragons movie. I
don't know how this would work, but like, so my first Forgotten Realms short story involves a spy who goes in to like get info, intentionally gets caught and killed, but then they resurrect her from the little finger that she chopped off And so then she's like, it's that dude and he's gonna do this. So if you took the hand of Vecna and you cast resurrection on it, would you make a new Vecna? I don't know. Then who has the soul? It's all attached to the phylactery. Are they sharing it? Is it a timeshare?
This sounds like a Doctor
now?
Doom plan.
Is this the Vecna of Theseus now?
I know, right? Like, what happens?
Vecna of Theseus.
I feel like, first of all, Vecna Death Tyrant, do that. But second, I would submit that Vecna being a lich and a god, true resurrection, he's beyond the power of true resurrection to restore.
That seems
personally,
reasonable.
Yeah.
What if? Okay.
Wait,
Okay.
don't you have to consent to resurrection anyway? You have to agree to come back.
So, that's true.
Fair. Part of me is also like, also that was when I did it was a different edition, but also my person was totally down, so we just didn't even touch that part. What if, as a thought experiment, okay, pre-lich Vecna chops his finger off in a threshing accident, and if you were to get a hold of that and you resurrected pre-lich Vecna from the finger, could you pull Vecna's soul back into a human non-lich body if you caught him in a moment of, I don't know, missing his mother?
I will now hope that none of my players watch this episode, because that sounds like a brilliant way to defeat Vecna. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, man, I didn't even think about that. Because, like, I don't know. Because this is one of those places where I'm not well-versed quite enough in the specific mechanics of a lich, because there are undead where they don't have a soul. Right, the soul is not the thing that's powering them, which is the crux of the short story. The resurrection agent is somebody like straight up resurrects the body that's missing the little finger into a white, and then she comes back in a new fresh body, but this one's still there. So now we have really existential crisis he fights.
I love it.
So would there still be Lich Vecna who just doesn't have access to the soul that's in the phylactery? Or
it sounds like Vecna's building his own fan
I don't
club
know.
of himself.
Like he can't dance anymore. He's like,
dang, I got no rhythm.
I lost my soul. Is this the
okay, I'm gonna try and get a couple more questions in here. No, it's okay. 5280A says, I love B-Dave's shirt. Where can I get one?
This is the Lambert House shirt from 3 years ago, so you might not be able to.
I believe they still have that one up. I think that is still one of the options. But yeah,
they're all time dependent, I thought. So
if you look up D&D Lambert House together, it might pull it up. But yeah, B-Dave might also be right that it may be time sensitive on when you can order it. But they do it every year. But
there's a new one every year.
Yeah.
This is last year.
Yep.
Yeah, last year.
And they got the Magic the Gathering one.
Yeah, that's last year's, and this year's is MTG, and then the one before after this, but before this was the dragon with the prismatic fire.
Yep.
Needless to say, I rock those every year. So, yeah.
I think we can go out on this one because it's kind of all encompassing. Wilhelm Scream says, hey, can anyone recommend a source that compiles canonical lore throughout the editions? I don't know where something like that lands, legally speaking, mind you. Not talking about stat blocks or anything like that, just text and ideally images. I don't think one of those exists.
No.
If it
that's
did,
why we do this show.
Yeah. Not only that,
here.
but if it did, it's probably third party. It's definitely talking about the legality of that. I think something like that would be fun, at least.
And then the closest you're gonna get is like a D&D Beyond, and even then, it's only got 5th edition.
Actually, I just remembered something that gets close to this is the Young Adventurers guides. And you may discount them because they're kids' books and whatnot, and they definitely are angled towards getting kids into D&D. It works. I did that to my nephews, haha. But they don't really have stat blocks in them. They more talk about lore and characters of D&D, and it's not in depth, but it is enough, I think, because like it was wild. Like I gave my nephews those books, and then like the next year I got them another one, and like my nephew was like, "That's Brunor Battlehammer," and I'm like, "You were 5 and you know who Brunor Battlehammer is." I'm so happy right now. So I recommend checking those out. They're pretty cool lore wise. But yeah, I don't think there's anything that got it all together. But that is where we need to wrap things up because it's about time for us to get out of here. So, friends, where can people find you and what awesome things are you working on? I will say, stick around though. There's a special thing after I end the episode that you might want to see that's coming to the game later today. So stick around.
Ooh. You can find me on Twitter at Erin M. Evans. You can listen to me with these guys on our podcast, Writing About Dragons and Shit, where we talk about writing and tangent into other things.
So many tangents.
You can join me on Concentration Check, a co-writing show on twitch.tv/Dungeon Scrawlers every Monday at 1:30. So we do some writing sprints, although you don't have to be writing. You can do whatever project you need a little help getting some focus on. You can also join me for Dungeon Scrawlers on that same channel at 6:30 p.m. Pacific on Wednesdays. That's tonight. And we play D&D in Forgotten Realms with a bunch of fantasy writers.
Yeah.
We're in trouble. We're in some kind of weird dungeon that was full of death tyrants.
That you're totally supposed to be in. That nothing bad happened. Nothing brought you there by
Someone
accident.
decided to roll to do the Helm of Teleportation and then rolled real bad. And so I don't know where we are, but then somebody decided to let go of the circle. And so we did not teleport out. And I don't have a Warlock Pact anymore, so I don't even know what I'm doing.
But you weren't a warlock,
anyway.
so
Yeah. Somehow I lost all my very important witch powers. My Reshemi witch powers are gone. Possibly because I burned my mask in a fit of grief. I don't know. Something happened. Also, can I just say there's new adventures coming out today, I believe.
Yes, there are.
And you guys should check these out because this is both, I think, the most poignant thing I've written so far and the most bananas bonkers thing I've written so far.
Read all the dialogue.
it's weird how often those two states overlap, to tell you the truth.
It's two little adventures, those one and then the other.
I mean, speaking as someone that does an official D&D horror show, an official D&D comedy show, there's a lot of funny bits in the horror show and a lot of terrible bits in the comedy. So yeah, that's true. As far as the podcast goes, the real podcast is the tangents we took along the way. I am non-ironically TV's B. Dave Walters. You catch me on Invitation to Party on G4, which is live on Twitch and YouTube on Fridays, on TV on Mondays, and the Black Dice Society on the official D&D Twitch and YouTubes on Thursdays at 3 Pacific. And just follow me on the Tweetagrams at B. Dave Walters.
Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at the Treavor. There is an A hiding in there, and I gave the shout out on Writing About Dragon Shit, so I'm gonna do it here as well. I possibly am doing another podcast that was actually an old podcast coming back called I'm Gonna Podcast, which is me and 2 of my friends just being silly together. And the reason I say it might be coming back is because we want your help. We want to get 50 listener questions in, and then we'll start recording again, just answering questions that are ranging anything from, I don't know, relationship advice, job advice, or is a hot dog a sandwich? Is salsa a soup? Whatever.
What happens if you resurrect Vecna's pre-lich hand?
We'll talk about that. Send it in.
That's my submission.
You can send those into I'm gonna email at gmail.com. And if we get 50 questions, we're gonna start the show again. Let's see. One last shout out. Happy birthday to my best friend Kyle yesterday.
Hey, happy birthday, Kyle.
Good dude. And
birthday, Kyle.
And it's so fitting because he freaking loves Vecna.
Surprise, we did it for you.
Yeah.
Did we do it for him?
No,
okay.
Cool. Suggested. Thank you to Martin for moderating in the chat.
I did not suggest it for Kyle.
Mm-hmm. Thank you to Jay for moderating not Jay. Thank you, Martin, for moderating in the chat and doing a fantastic job today. And thank you to Codename Entertainment for letting us have some fun and talk about some D&D. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch it later as a podcast on your favorite podcast service. And you can write in suggestions for future topics that have to do with Idle Champions and D&D. You can send those into championsoflore@codenameentertainment.com. Let's see. Today we've got Mars's Guiding Hand at 1, and then we've got Sketching Hour at 3. So be sure to come back and catch those for a lot of fun. And like Erin said, there is an update to the game coming pretty much directly after this show ends. So update your game and check that out. And now I'm actually going to show you a little teaser for what's coming next. So that is going to do it for this week's episode. And if you're an audio listener, I'm sorry because it's a visual thing. But until next week, champions out.